Hi, we're Alison and Terry, and we're the Sky Whisperers, and we're here today to talk to you about Uranus in Gemini. So there's loads to talk about, loads to look at. We're going to first of all look at Uranus itself, what it stands for, what it symbolizes, and then we're going to have a little look at Gemini as a sign and what that symbolizes. Then we're going to just scoot back a bit and a quick review, and it will be quick, to of Uranus in Taurus and what that's kind of meant for maybe a few people. And then we're going to move on to a general overview of Uranus and Gemini, and then we're going to look more detail through the signs. So you'll be able to kind of probably check in the transcript and see probably about halfway through we'll be looking at Uranus through the signs. So I'm going to pass over to Terry. Terry, Uranus in Gemini.
Uranus in Gemini. Let's first maybe look at the technical details to understand when will it happen, and where are we going to be with Uranus in Gemini throughout the 7 years, because that
Yeah, good
Uranus in
point.
Gemini has an average cycle of in a sign average 7 years, and 84 years is the would be the return that it will come back to the same sign. So the people who are around 84 years old would have their first Uranus return, actually, that it will come to the same point that they were born, more or less, of course. So on July 7th, 2025, at 8:47 UK time, Uranus will make its entrance into this mutable air sign, Gemini, and but it will be only like a little bit entrance, like it happened with the Saturn and Neptune, etc., because during the retrograde period it will go back to Taurus. It's like just I mean, like an introduction, July 7th, because on September 6th it will start its retrograde period and then go back to Taurus on November 8th, and then go back. The retrograde period will finish February 4th, and again it will only go back to Gemini April 26, 2026, and it will stay there over 6 years, and there would be some retrograde periods, but not to bore you with the other details. On average, it will stay 7 years in the sign of Gemini. So, what could it mean? Normally, I think it's good to, as Alison mentioned, to understand what Uranus might mean uh, natally, and then how it can act during the transits, and how it can act in Gemini natally and transits as well. So what do you
Mhm.
say, Uranus?
Yeah, so generally Uranus in the chart, I mean, first of all, it's an outer planet, so it's not one of our personal internal drives. It's to do with how we interact with society and how especially society interacts with us. But nevertheless, if you've got a strong Uranus in the chart, you'll find that you're very often independent, for example. You know, it's a very independence of spirit and it can be quite detached. I mean, it rules Aquarius, not in traditional astrology, but in modern astrology, co-rules Aquarius with Saturn. And so then we come up with words for Uranus like innovation, excitement, change, but not just that kind of slow change that we thought about. You know, Uranus is like something that kind of comes in like a sort of lightning bolt, if you like, and changes the entire sort of worldview that we have. And people that have strong Uranus in the chart are not only independent, but can be quite original. And depending how it works, you know, these are very often the innovators. They're the people that kind of think outside the box a little bit, you know, especially if in their charts it's linked to Mercury, they have that connection. So it's a real sort of independence of thought, I think. Something different, a little bit futuristic. Is that something you would agree with, Terry?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, there is, like, they say that also it's like eccentric. I mean, it's like I think, as you say, there is something from this world, but out of this world, something
Yes.
like
Yeah.
that. I mean, it's like there's a feeling about I think Uranus in that sense. I mean, and I think yeah, that all this also we have been discussing before we started the talk, and the Uranus in modern astrology is also associated with astrology itself, as Mercury is in the traditional astrology. I mean, it's the ruler of astrology. So, and it would be in that sense interesting that like Uranus would be in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. So we can actually, I think about lots of things about astrology, and maybe different ideas, interesting ideas that are coming out through this period as well. I don't know what was happening in 1940s, of course, in the last time that Uranus was in Gemini in terms of astrology, but it could be a period like that as well. So what do you say when Uranus in Gemini? What could happen?
Well, I think I was just thinking when you said about that, and I was thinking about the idea of innovation and technological innovation, and of course the one that there was the nuclear bomb, of course, that we associate with Pluto as well. But I mean that was definitely part of the Uranus and Gemini era. So I mean, lots of people have been talking about AI and the growth of that and how it's going to be hard to contain it because it's in Gemini and it's going to be making the trine to Pluto in Aquarius, which is going to give it power and momentum and all those kinds of things. And I'm sure we will find those kinds of, internet, extranet, all that kind of stuff, sort of growing exponentially during this period of Uranus in Gemini. Um, but the problem is it's a little bit unconnected. That's the issue. I mean, I think Uranus is very much to do with the mind, to do with the spirit, to do with things that are a little bit outside of the norm, outside of society. So you're talking about astrology, which is a little bit sort of eccentric. Some people would say outside of society, not but it's often not grounded in reality. It's about outer space, if you like. It's about the stars, it's about the universe. And there's a sense of Uranus being like that too, and taking us almost into another dimension, I think, in our thinking here when it goes into Gemini, and it's not bounded like it was in Taurus by the idea of land and finances and the body. So it's a completely different kind of a vibe, if you like.
Yeah, that's true. Also, but when we are thinking about Gemini, I mean, again, ruled by Mercury and everything, I mean, it's like about education and also it's rational thinking. I mean,
Hmm.
and maybe, I mean, it's like because Gemini wants to like not like Sagittarius, but wants to explore, that's curious. I mean, wants to learn, wants to dig that information, whatever it can get. So I think if we go back to astrology, it could be like now it's already like the people are getting more like formal education, etc. But I think it can, I think maybe increase that the people will be more like into like that kind of teaching and everything. And also I'm also thinking that it's like maybe there is already people like making the science connection with astrology, though I personally don't believe that astrology is a science, but still, I mean, like there are lots of people that are working on more statistical methods, etc. Maybe it could be something more developing in this period with the support of the softwares, new technology that is coming through. But that's the astrology part. I wouldn't know about other things as well.
The other thing is that, and this is work pioneered by Claire Martin and Carol Taylor, Uranus is also to do with spirit. And I've done a little bit of research on this as well. And you often see actually that when people have some kind of spiritual awakening, or I've done work with psychopomps, those people that are somehow enabled in a spiritual sense to help people across into the other side, if you like. And they very often have a strong Uranus in their chart, but the Uranus needs to be connected and grounded in reality. So you might find a Uranus connected to an earthy sun, for example. So you've got that idea of spirit, but it's also brought back down to earth. And I think with Uranus, actually, that is the real challenge to bring those ideas and the idea of spirit and change and innovation back down and to make them sort of useful in reality, if you like, not just kind of wander off to other realms. But the yeah, the connection between the idea of spirit and of being connected to spirit is very strong, and it comes through the alchemical tradition as well. So well worth looking at that if you get a chance to listen to Carol or Claire.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like Carol and I mean, we are not making advertisement here.
No.
Just the people know, but I mean, they are teaching at the moment. Both, I think, in the I forgot the name, MISPA.
Oh
Let's
yeah,
let's
yeah, Miss
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, MISPA and also Asteria teaching. They are now teaching all this. I mean, like giving workshops about alchemy. If you are
Mm,
interested in alchemy, I mean, you can always, I think, head to their websites and see what is going on and what kind of workshops are on, because
mm,
it's really interesting. I mean, in that sense, I mean, and also when you were talking about spirit and everything, why it reminded me Neptune, I have no idea, but that's fine. That because that I was looking at, like, at the aspects that Uranus would make. I mean, in the near time, and the nearest one I had seen was like Uranus Neptune sextile
mm.
in August 29. Also, I mean, I was thinking about science, and that would be the sextile of the conjunction that started in 1993 in Capricorn. They were in Capricorn.
Ah,
Now
yes.
yeah,
Yes,
they were
yes.
like in all these earthy, uh,
Mm,
on this earthy sign, the cardinal earth sign Capricorn, and now they would be in completely, like, it's like, that from an passive sign to, like, it's like boom. It's like, it feels like that. I mean, because Uranus in Gemini and then Neptune in Aries. I think
hmm.
Neptune would be in Aries at that moment, and they would have this sextile. It's like getting into, still in an amicable relationship, making some efforts, etc. But there would be some kind of relationship with the way that the changes, that sudden
Mm.
changes that could happen, and the ideas where we would like to go forward with our dreams, etc. And then they will come together, and it can be interesting where the Aries and Gemini in our charts, with those degrees, I should look, and what can happen out of that.
That's a really good point, actually. Yeah, where Aries and Gemini are and how that relates. Yeah. Shall we share the Ingress chart, actually? Would that be
If
a
you
good
want,
idea?
you can look at it. Yeah,
Okay.
we can have the July 7th chart. I think it is just
Yeah.
conjunct the Venus, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
exactly. That's what I wanted to sort of point out. So it is indeed conjunct Venus, and there's a wide have I got the right? What time exactly was it, Terry, that you said?
7:47, which is 8:47 UK, so 9:47 should be your time.
Okay, 9:47. Yeah,
Mm-hmm,
thanks. Okay, yeah. So there we are, 9:47.
mm-hmm. They're up on
And
the
it's just another
both
minute
hours.
and it will be into probably another second, actually. There we are.
Yeah,
So it's opposite the moon, which I think as well is interesting. So the moon is Sagittarius, opposite that Uranus and um,
Venus. Yeah.
Venus in Gemini, which is quite a tense aspect, isn't it? Finding that balance between our instincts and how we you know, the moon in Sagittarius, which we've just had or we have at the moment as we're speaking, which is very much about the journey, about optimism, about forward looking and everything. But it's about the bigger picture, and then trying to find that balance with Uranus in Gemini, which might just get swamped in details, and it might kind of it feels quite like it's going to break things up there, doesn't it? And next to that Venus of relationships, it could well be a sort of moment of letting go relationships that aren't serving us, I think, as well. Yeah, as we move into that new thing. But we've got, as Terry said, there's this ongoing sextile with Saturn, which will hold things steady, and also with Neptune here. And in fact, it's a lovely little mini grand trine here, as it's all sort of empowered by Pluto as well. So I think
Yeah,
basically, yeah, there's a lot of power because that mini grand trine's extending down here. So we've got the pattern coming twice to bring in that moon, actually.
mhm.
It's an innovative kind of combination, isn't it? It's a combination that's about going forward, about thinking about the future, I think, that ingress chart.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like it's a change of mindset at the end of the
yes,
day. I mean, like we are
exactly.
like a perspective change. I mean, we are looking at things I mean, in a certain way, and we can also mention, I mean, like Uranus in Taurus. I mean, it's an earth sign, it's a fixed sign. I mean, you try to you want consistency. I mean, even there is a change, even you
Mm,
make the structural change, you want that
hmm
it wants to be consistent. But with Uranus in Gemini, I mean, like we are talking about a mutable sign. Okay, you will make the change. I mean, mindset. I mean, you will try to think in another way. You
hmm
will look at the things from a different perspective. But if it doesn't work, you will say, okay, fine. I mean, like I can just try another version. I mean, like in Taurus, it won't be like that shift wasn't happening, that it didn't work now. No, it's not like that. I mean, like I did it. Okay, I already made an effort to make that change.
mm,
Then if it's better that it works, and then you will go and like make sure that it's like it stays, and then you can make something out of it. But Uranus in Gemini, it would be like, okay, didn't work, fine. I mean, like I am, let's do it in another way. Let's find another angle, this angle, maybe it will go like that. I mean, but it's like it's about all about this, like how can I uh make these changes. And also I think since with Venus, I mean, it's like it's about our values and the way that they
yeah.
relate to people. And also I think for artists, I mean, it's like in their art, of course, art uh, requires intuition, that all that inspiration and everything with that. But maybe there should be a, I mean, rational part that has to be like, how could it be put out in a more like that goes, I mean, with the minds of the people,
hmm
not only with the hearts of the people and everything. I think that this all could be while the moon is trying to break free there as well in another way.
And that mutable moon as well. And yeah, there's quite a lot of mutable in this chart, isn't there? Mutable and
Yeah.
cardinal, but we've got Pluto sitting there in Aquarius, kind of hopefully giving a little bit of stability, a little bit of staying power. But of course, that's going to be disposited or ruled by that Uranus now in Gemini and Saturn in Aries. So it just doesn't seem like a very stable chart, does it? A lot of movement, a lot of adaptability, Mars in adaptable Virgo as well. A lot of moving about, and this suggests really that this could carry on for the whole sort of period of the next few years, really. And I noticed that the sun here, it only makes the tiniest little it's a semi-sextile, that, isn't it, to Uranus there.
Hmm.
Otherwise it's completely unaspected. It doesn't contact anything. So we've got the sun in Cancer, which is the heart of our belonging and how where we feel we belong, where we protect ourselves and our tribe and those people we love. That's
Hmm.
just really not connected at all to the rest of this chart. So there's a
Hmm.
sense of, yeah, I think there is a sense of us trying to work
Limbo,
out.
limbo
Eh?
effect, limbo
Uh,
effect. I
Nemo effect. Yeah, how do we fit in? Where are we? Yeah, where is our home? Where is our belonging? Where is our place as we sort of work through the next few years? And what's clear is probably that our place and our values are going to change quite dramatically, and what we think is important is going to change too over the next few years. Yeah. Globally and on a sort of personal level as well, I think. depending how this chart kind of impacts with your own.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like in the end, we are impacted, I mean, by our environment. Of course, things change where we live. I mean, like locally or the countries or the continents, etc. The things change there, and then that makes us change. I mean, like by be this way or that way. I mean, like either we push back or we just try to find ways by changing ourselves to, mm, I mean, adapt to that change, whatever is happening in the environment. So I think that's the, I think, challenge with that. So you were, that was, I was thinking like 26 chart. Yes, that's the
And
time that
look, immediately, the weirdest thing is we have Venus in exactly the same place. How about that? I
yeah.
mean, what are the chances of
Yeah,
the April
Venus is in
26th?
Gemini. Oh,
It's just astonishing. So even if we look forward and say, okay, well, this is only a temporary chart. This isn't the final move of Venus of Uranus into Gemini. Maybe, Venus gets a chance to get away. She'll be somewhere more stable. No, she's not at all. Let's shift that round. She is absolutely still in Gemini there.
it's like we have to. Then it's like it is really. I mean, whatever like Venus, I mean, is representing, which we know is. I mean, in that sense, I mean, I think I always think that like the values that connect us. I mean, the values that mentally connect us
Hmm.
to other people, to the society, and everything. I think that are prone to change in a way. I mean, it's really interesting to see this. I mean, it's like they have 24 minutes among them. I
Yes.
mean, it's I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah.
really hard to see this.
Yeah, 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 yeah. 24 minutes between the two. I know, it's astonishing. Yeah, I think that's really, really insightful, Terry, about the values that really connect us. I think the good news about this chart, on the other hand, apart from the Sun-Pluto square, which is not great, challenging, we should say, is that the sun, though, at this point then is connected at least to the moon. So we've got a nice trine between the sun and moon there. So, and the sun's in Taurus, which gives a more of a stability. And it's also trining the nodes. So it's making that lovely flowing aspect to those nodes of destiny as well, which does make me suggest that, which does suggest to me that it's, although this is almost with all this Aries here, and of course Jupiter's still in Cancer, that it has a similar flavor to the other chart. There is a little bit more stability, and that these months between July and next April are a real transition process while things are worked through, and then this, and we try and work out where we belong. And then it does look, by next April, when Uranus comes back into Gemini, and by that time we've had the Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries as well, so that's set off too. Then I think whatever those values are that have been changing, and they're still adapting, still, because Uranus and Gemini is ongoing until whatever 2032 or something. So there are going to be changes in how we relate to each other, which might be to do with AI, might be to do just with how we are as people, as humanity. But I think it will be easier by that point. So I'm looking at these kind of, I don't know, what is it, 8 months, 10 months as more of a transition period, really, where we try and kind of just work out a bit where we are. And I'm sure Andre Barbeau, that great French astrologer, did say that from 2026 to 2032 or something was going to be best years ever. So so I'm
Yeah,
banking on
yeah.
that, frankly.
Yeah, I think it's really important, as you mentioned. It's like this transition periods. I mean, are really is a good time because things start maybe happening,
Hmm.
and then after that, I mean, like it could be a period that, especially retrograde, etc., comes. It's like okay, the things are happening. Okay, it looks like I need to change things. Of course, some people can be resistant to that, but if
Hmm.
we uh, listen to the wise people, like Uranus comes, I think, with the wake up call, and it gives the
Yeah.
chance to you once. But I mean, like, if you lose it, sometimes it is the case that that. But still, I mean, it's a good reflection period. It's
Mm.
like if there are things that we need to fine tune, and that we can do some corrections and everything, and then we can go like restart in a way. It's like you
Hmm.
make
Yeah,
the
yeah,
fresh
definitely.
thing again, and especially I think for the people um, who have some placements in mutable signs,
Mm.
uh, aka as the Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, and Sagittarius. I mean, if you have placements just at the beginning, I mean, like zero,
Mm.
1 degrees, etc., of these signs, or also, I mean, it's still, I mean, it will come to Taurus, so fixed signs, the last degrees of fixed signs. It's like for them, it's like more like closing, the wrapping up for the fixed signs, because that's it with the Uranus. When
Yes,
it goes
yes.
back there,
Yeah,
it's like it would be like more like whatever happened in these
yeah.
7 years. Okay, that's the now it's like we are just finalizing it,
Hmm.
make the
Yeah, yeah,
reconciliation, and
definitely.
now let's move forward in a way. But for the mutable signs at the beginning of these, it's like you just started warming up, and
Yes.
then you can see what could be ahead of you, and either you just go with the flow, which sometimes you may have small accidents on the way, or if you can see it, I think in a way maybe you can get ready, and
Still
in a
with the
way you
current.
can. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's like it's a feeling like that with all these transitioning things going back and forth, I think. So
Yeah.
that would be our that's interesting. I mean, that it's good that you put up the this April 26th
Yeah,
chart,
that
and
was so,
then
yeah, that's so interesting.
see that Venus is like and we are looking like at the same point.
Mm.
Seriously, is it going up? No,
Yeah.
it's very strange, yeah. And that chart also, I mean, of course, it's for France. Its ascendant is in Gemini as well. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes, it is. Yeah, I mean, you can ignore the ascendants
Yeah,
and the MCs because they'll change
yeah,
wherever you are, and Fortuna
yeah,
as well. It won't be relevant
yeah,
unless
yeah.
you're exactly in my sitting room, which you're probably. So yes. Anyway, so super interesting. I'm glad we did that. I like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Uranus is
Okay.
in Gemini. It's like we are just
Yeah, so already we've had this revelation. So that was quite interesting, actually. We were going to just mention Prometheus, weren't we? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
just quickly, without wanting to go on too much about myth, because I think there's lots of people
Okay.
that will talk about the
Okay.
myth.
So I mean, it's like the that I have this book also, Alison, and I'm sure the lots of astrologers have it, like the Howard Sasportas, Gods of Change, and
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Here it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, great book.
He's so
If you're an
yeah,
astrologer,
he's talking about.
we both know.
Unfortunately, he passed away in the early 1990s, but his legacy is still with us. We can say that. And I always like looking at this book during the outer planets transit, etc. And there's a part that he's talking about the Prometheus, and in short, the myth is like Prometheus likes that there is an equality between the uh, mortal and immortal. So he doesn't want that all the powers in the hands of gods, and he makes lots of things. But the the last thing that he says, he steals the fire from the gods, and of course Zeus doesn't like that. Okay, no, 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 not under my authority. You are not doing this. And
Not on
then
my watch.
he just gets Prometheus get chained in Mount Caucasus, and then it's like his punishment was like a vulture will come and then take his liver out every day, and then it will come back, and every day he had to go through this. So what the Sasportas is saying, that it's like the Uranian urge in all of us, I will just quote from him, is us to progress and advance, to change our existing situation for the sake of something better, which Prometheus is doing, you know that. But he's saying that there's a price. Of course, Prometheus is paying a price, and we may need to end up paying a price. I'm not saying in the sense that like it's bad sense, I mean, but we may need to give up on some of the things for the sake of something better, for the sake of making that change worthwhile. I think that's the, I think, point about it. So I think we can keep the liver part out, but Prometheus and Uranus, I think, are giving us this idea of like if we need to make some changes, it could be sometimes painful, or we need to, I mean, like for that change, we need to maybe give up on things or stuff. But if it's for something better, it would be worth the effort and all the
Yeah.
change at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. You're saying giving up on things or stuff or whatever because of Taurus, which is very much a Taurus thing. Yeah, stability thing, stuff. What can I collect around me to make me feel secure? And body as well, actually. The body is a very Taurian thing. And I think Uranus in Taurus has been innovative and um, it's a bit of a sidetrack, but I've heard of lots of people doing IVF as well, which I think is to do with that, impact of technology on the body and also really kind of innovative cancer treatments and things like that. Anyway, so yeah, moving on, and it's always true, isn't it, that in order to move forward, and we say every full moon, to move forward, then we're going to have to let something go. And you do, you can't kind of have it all. And I think one of the biggest things about life is that you have to choose. You absolutely have to choose.
Which reminds me, you have to choose. You said it's like the Gemini,
Yes.
because there is the I always come back to tarot. The people want to save themselves from my tarot, and then the thing that there is the lovers card. Everyone, I mean, generally it's take, oh, it's love. No, lovers is about
Who do
the
you want to
choice.
be?
Yeah, who it's the choice. I mean, it's that decision that you make. I
Yes.
mean, because it's like you're at this crossroads.
Yes.
What do you want to do? I mean, it's like you either, like in some of the decks, I mean, you see you can go for something like short term, and then you just do things for your, I mean, like I mean, desire, or for the things for your fun. But you can do something more rational that will
Hmm.
take you for to long term. So what do you want to do? What is your
Yeah.
choice? So in that sense, it's like Gemini is like double bodied and everything, but it's like making that all the time, making that decision, which, that also means
Yes.
like that.
Yes. Yeah. Good. I think that's really good card actually for it. What do you want to do and who do you want to be ultimately as you go forward? What are your values? It's still with Venus. This is important. It's not next to Venus again for nothing. What are the values? What are the relationships that you want to take with you? It's really
Mhm,
important. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And Prometheus, just to finish up on that, actually, is connected to Chiron too. And having talked before about psychopomps, then you see that connection in the charts of people who are interested in that kind of shamanic approach too. Um, and of course, it was Chiron who, as he was mortally wounded, or not mortally wounded, unfortunately, because he was immortal, gave up his immortality to take the place of Prometheus, and in that moment, then was released up into the heavens. So he was the one in the end that freed Prometheus, and they freed each other. And you get that connection with Chiron in charts too. It's interesting. It's a whole other webinar, but that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yeah, because with Chiron it's interesting because of the way that it sits in the sky. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like it's between Uranus and Saturn that all
Mhm.
that the bridge thing, like the old, new, and then the future and the past and everything that is like tradition or non-tradition, etc. It's like it's really
Mm.
there. It's like in a way all connected to each other. Yeah, but then as you said, it's like Chiron is a subject that you can talk like I think
Yeah, we'll save that for
hours.
another
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Maybe when Chiron goes into Taurus.
yeah, maybe.
Shall we go through the houses, Terry?
Okay, then if you would like to stop sharing, then we can
Yeah,
start.
I will do that
Yeah, yeah,
actually.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I'm aware that time is going on a little bit. So,
yeah,
oh, which is a shame because I was enjoying our discussion, which was
yeah,
really
yeah. It's really nice. Yeah, we can go through the what do you want to like? Where do
Let's
you
start
want
with
to?
the first house.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to start, I mean, who first? I mean, in that sense, first
Oh,
house, yes.
okay. So if you've got Gemini on the ascendant anyway, so all these mutable ascendants are already kind of going out into the world, adapting. How do I want to be? What's out there, I will kind of adapt and change and sort of alter a little bit. They're shapeshifters to some extent. I mean, Pisces being the ultimate shapeshifter that just completely morphs into something else. But Gemini too has a sense of, yeah, going out and talking, let's talk, let's converse, let's communicate, let's try and understand the basics of this world that we're in. And then Uranus moves into it, and as Terry mentioned, that whole kind of mental process shifts, and then you're kind of a little bit knocked sideways, I think, in the first house, and it's like a different approach perhaps to the world. You want to become more independent, your thoughts becoming more independent. Um, I think as it moves through, there's definitely going to be changes in your one-to-one relationships, which could be, could ultimately be very positive because there's that opposition to the seventh house, which is, your close one-to-one relationships. Could be business partnerships as well, sort of. So it's moving through, and you're basically changing quite radically, perhaps, how you see the world. Maybe you get some new age ideas and you go off and study astrology. I'm not sure. But I think there'll be differences, more independence, more innovation, more originality, less tolerance.
Yeah. Maybe, probably. I mean, yeah, it's the first house. Yeah, it's in that sense interesting. It's about us. I mean, ourselves completely, and also the starts, the way that we start things and we initiate stuff. I think that can have a really interesting shift. I mean, of course, Uranus
Mm.
comes as sudden change. I mean, like the shock and etc. That there is this
Mm.
big words, boom, etc. But I think it's sometimes the thing is that there are things that are in front of our eyes, and then it's like I think it's just poke us or poke
Yeah,
in
good
not
point.
nicely, not
Yeah.
not
Prod you,
nicely, not.
yeah. Look
It's like
at
look
that.
at you. I mean, like it's like there change, and it's saying that like change now. I mean, it's like there
Yes,
is no that it's now. It's no like I will think about it. Okay, it's like
yes.
no. I'm sorry. The time is up. Done. I mean, there is a I think sense of like that with Uranus and in Gemini in a mutable sign. Okay, now I was thinking like this. It's like done. It's like shift, etc. So in that sense, I mean, we have to maybe listen to the pokes of Uranus. I mean, at least, I mean, think about it. Thinking
Yeah,
about it
yeah.
is important. It's like
Mm.
not like no or like later. No, there is no later. It's now.
Hmm. Hmm.
And when we come to the second house, it's about our, I mean, it's our finances. It could be, I mean, it's our resources, and it's the way that also we generate income. Of course, it also has the self-esteem and all these things around that. But I think it could go either way. I mean, like with Uranus and Gemini, of course, we can have really interesting ideas about creating resources.
Hmm.
or something drastical may happen in the way that we are earning money, in the in a way that it could be the change of job, or you say that okay, I'm done with this kind of thing, and some interesting ideas to create new types of resources can come into our mind. I mean, it's like at the beginning it could be like you know, um, like the shock of maybe not doing the same job or same type of money earning business. But at the end of the day, it could, I mean, in a way, uh, free us from something maybe we didn't want. We were there just
Yeah.
for the money that we are earning, or the this thing, and it will, might give us an option to create other ways, other
Hmm.
types of ideas to generate this resource for us.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. To do it very much to do with resources, how we earn our resources, and also with the resources we've already got, actually. I mean, there might be a bit of a bid for freedom there, I feel too, okay, it's what you were saying about the job thing. Okay, I'm done with this. Really, I'm done with it. I've put up with this long enough. I've been plowing through Taurus and, sticking it out, and now I'm really finished. So because Uranus is very much about freedom as well. So yeah, definitely. And the sense of self-worth and suddenly possibly feeling more empowered, I think, more independent, if it's in the stronger about things whilst you're adapting, perhaps. Adapting to new situations of finances too is a thing. And then it moves into the third house. And I think what we didn't discuss earlier actually is that sometimes Uranus can be associated with mental health as well, because it being the higher octave of Mercury and communication. And so there can definitely, with Uranus in the third house, be, changes in the way that you think. And I mean, it goes all the way through, because if Uranus is innovative and thinks outside the box and all that kind of thing, there's not so much of a big step between that and people thinking, oh, he's completely crazy. He's just gone off on one. But there's definitely changes in, I think, neighborhood when you're there, maybe changes with your siblings, relationships with your siblings. But it's particularly changes with the way that you think, I think, and how you think about your neighborhood and how you relate to the world in general. How you if you're at school, I mean, there's definitely stuff about schools. There might be, changes in schools in your community or something like that. But it's about journalism, and the way that you communicate will all be subject to this sudden sort of, sudden change, really. Innovation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the way that you, I mean, like maybe the write. I mean, if you're a writer, it could
Mm,
be the way that you may change your style of writing,
yeah,
or I mean, you can be a public
subject
speaker or
matter.
someone, somewhere like that, and then you can change your style. So it could be anything about like the way that we communicate and the area. I think the communicate, you could be writing before and you may decide that okay, I can actually handle the speaking as well, or the other way
Mm,
around. I mean, like
sure.
I think so it's a complete looking at things from a different angle in terms of communication and our siblings. And also, I think that if you are in kind of trade, I mean, like that kind of thing, it's all this Mercury, etc. Relationship. It could be, but neighborhood, I think it's really interesting that it could be like even moving houses, maybe. Okay.
Moving house is probably more to do with the fourth, I think.
Fourth, yeah. But I mean, like change of. I think in a way that the the way that community or something like that. I mean, it's like
Is
no, it's
organized,
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah,
Mm,
exactly. Fourth
yeah.
house,
Yeah.
changing house, let's change house.
No, I
Yeah,
mean, it's
yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
traditional, isn't it, for
yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
changing.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's to do with
changing.
your
Yeah,
parents too, of course.
yeah, it can be, it can be. It's like it's family because at the end of the
Mm.
day, the roots, etc. And also, it could be. I mean, like you may have a different. Um, uh, sense of, I think, uh, thinking about where you belong. I mean, that
Thinking how,
changes.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like how you perceive. I mean, like I think maybe in the past you were looking at things, the family, the roots, the blah blah blah, etc. Maybe in a more sentimental way. Now you decide that, I mean, like okay, I will look at the things now in a more rational way, and then see what will happen. Okay, because it's like also it depends, of course, how um what kind of placements, etc., we have in the fourth house. But at the end of the day, it could be again a change of perspective about the family, about the home, about the history and the past. And it's like sometimes traditionally also connected with the father. So about our
Yeah, definitely.
perception of our father as well, etc. I
Yeah.
think that things can happen.
Changes in your relationship with your father, changes in how you feel about the past as maybe new information comes forward. I was going to say something else. Oh yeah, you sometimes see this, or maybe more than sometimes actually, in the charts of people who have been adopted, who are not quite sure where their roots are and that kind of thing, whose roots were perhaps a little bit subject to change, or there was a sudden break, because sometimes Uranus is a break in something, isn't it? A break in a pattern or a break in a cycle. So I think that can happen too. And with it going through the fourth house, yeah, a break, which is a house move, or yeah, a break in a relationship somehow with the past could also be possible, or a new coming together is also possible as it moves through, as you have a new perspective on it. Definitely.
Mhm. Fifth.
So the fifth house is about creativity. It's about all the things that you do to express yourself. So with Uranus in the fifth house, it's to do with children as well, of course, because as they are part of the things that you bring into the world, if you like. So a surprise pregnancy there would not be out of the question. But it's also to do with love affairs. So there might be, a surprise love affair or a love affair that suddenly breaks up, something like that. Those kinds of things on a very practical level are totally possible. But on perhaps a deeper level, it's to do with changes in how you put yourself out into the world, if you like. Maybe you feel yourself to be more independent, more original. You're more adaptable, and yeah, just completely kind of putting yourself out there in a new way, I think. But I definitely like the idea of yeah, the unexpected pregnancy or that sudden wonderful new love affair that comes into your life. Especially if you've got Gemini in the fifth, you're going to have Venus there too when Uranus goes into Gemini, so it's nice.
It could be, it could be about it. I mean, it's like that how you perform. You don't need to be an artist or something like that, but we
Hmm.
are all,
Sure,
I mean, all the world is a stage, no? And the
sure.
women and the men are the mere players, no? It's like as the Shakespeare would be impressed by my English.
By your rendition there. Yeah.
That I did it like his big great play, and then like just put it into Uranus in Gemini. But it could be, I mean, it's like we are all performers at the end of the day. I mean, like it's like it could affect the way that we perform. I mean, it's no
Yeah,
like
that's a
we
good point, actually. Performance in general.
yeah,
Yeah.
in general. I mean, it's like performance in general, because it's like it can, I mean, the Uranus in Gemini can bring really interesting sudden changes. I mean, with the change of the mindset, it can change
Mhm.
the way that we perform, and then we display stuff in the world, probably.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Sixth house, Terry.
That's that's me. I mean, 6 hours could be our work environment. I mean, like we may not be fitting in that environment anymore. Sometimes
Yes.
it could be the case with Uranus in Gemini. I mean, there. Also, I mean, it's like it's our health. the daily routines and also the it could be our nutrition, the way that we exercise and
Mhm.
everything, and things might happen in a way that we should have, I mean, we should sit and think and make that change. For example, I have high cholesterol. I mean, I think it's like, though Uranus is not in my thing, but I mean, like, if you have like this, then you have to change your mindset. I mean, like,
Mhm.
it doesn't go like this, so you have to change it. I mean, it's like diet, this doesn't work, that doesn't work, etc.
Mm.
Then it means that there's something else that could be done about it. I mean, like, maybe think outside the box and
Yeah.
see what can be done to solve that problem or issue, etc., and make the necessary change in the work environment, in your routines, on
Mm.
your health, in your nutrition, whatever it is.
Yeah, because if you don't make the changes, then the thing about Uranus is that it'll make the changes for you, and you'll find yourself in a situation that perhaps, ultimately you didn't want to be in. So, but I think with Uranus there as well, it's worth exploring things like, complementary medicines and all kinds of complementary practices, as well as, going down with the mainstream things. And of course, it might, if you've got Gemini in the sixth anyway, you're not going to be super fond of routine. You're going to want a little bit of change. You're going to want to be moving about a bit in your day. And then Uranus coming in there, I think, is going to make that feeling stronger. You might want more independence in your daily life, more autonomy really in what you do, I think, and how you go about your daily business as it goes through the sixth. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And as it moves into the seventh, now I do think, I mean, people panic a bit. Oh, Uranus going through the seventh house is that, immediate kind of breakup with, my partner. And I don't think that's the case at all. Um, but there's definitely um, something about changing things within that relationship here. In order for that relationship to move forward as it needs to, because obviously the planets move into these signs, move around different areas of our chart with purpose. It's because of something in us that needs to adapt, to change, to be different from how we were before. So it's a time to examine examine our one-to-one relationships, our partnerships. And I'm thinking here actually about Terry and I just starting this partnership now, which is really a really Uranus and Gemini kind of partnership here, with it happening mostly on Zoom. We do meet up sometimes, and forming this partnership about astrology, which we're broadcasting. So, yeah, so it's definitely that in terms of business partnerships, but also just in your everyday partnerships. Gemini is going to want to be friends, so there's definitely this sense of being friends with the person that you're in love with, as well. But yeah, I think the basic thing here is about making those changes in your relationships, which may give you both a little bit more freedom, a little bit more autonomy, so that you can come together on a new level and perhaps with less emotional dependency. Because if there's one thing Uranus and Gemini isn't, it's emotionally dependent. So I think that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, because there you need for that mental stimulation and all that mental exchange. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, as you said, I mean, like, sometimes it could happen that, I mean, like, in some relationships, it's like you are doing everything together.
Hmm.
It's like, and it's like something, sometimes it could wear out things. So but the change here, it could be like you say that, okay, now, okay, one of the partners may decide that, okay, will decide, I mean, I will start to go to a book club, that would be my thing now. It's like thing, and
Yep.
then it's
Very
like
Gemini.
the moment that we could give, and then the other one will say, okay, now I will do, I mean, I will exercise twice a day at night at the gym or something like that. I mean, and then the moment that you could give that freedom to each other, yes, it will bring that partnership to another level. There would be a
Yes,
change,
exactly.
but you will be in any case agreeing, I mean, like on some rational terms, because it's like, and then that will also give freedom instead of
Hmm.
getting to the point of like someone rebels, and then rebellion is not, I wouldn't be the point that you would like to come, like it's enough, because that could break up things. But if you could make the change, okay, that one needs this kind of freedom. Okay, I need this kind of freedom also. You come to I think a ground that
Mm.
everyone could agree. Things change, but for better.
It's like a breath of fresh air coming in, isn't it? And I think it's like that in all the houses, really. A breath of fresh air, which just is going to just bring something new with it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So the eighth house. Do you want to
That's
do
me. Okay. So the eighth house, I mean, it's like it could be, I mean, like it could be about our shared assets with the partners,
that? Hmm.
or I mean all the those shared values, resources, etc. Of course it could be about the uh, inheritance, or it could be about tax, I don't know why, and it could be about the death in physical terms, but also it's in uh, more like a spiritual level. I mean, like ending things in a way, the
Hmm.
house of ends and beginnings
Yeah.
in a way. I mean, so in that sense, I mean, it's like that maybe sudden, but actually piling up change of mindset may um, cause us, I mean, like maybe end some of the things in our life, but it's not necessarily like again relationships or something like that, but it's like finishing things and
Yeah.
maybe restarting. I mean, it's like it's in a way um, rebirth process. It could be at the end of the day as well.
Yeah, a sort of rebooting of something. I mean, it might also be something quite, mundane, like a sudden inheritance that you receive, something like that you could get. But yeah, I mean, definitely House of Transformation. So with the planet of sudden change, you're getting this sudden kind of rebooting coming in. And in order for that to happen, of course, something has to have happened, so it's to have caused it. So an event, presumably of some kind, comes in, and you've got this rebooting of perhaps of yourself at some profound level, but it could also be a partnership at some profound level as well. And shared values which change. Yes. It's not the easiest house to talk about, the eighth, as you may have noticed.
No. It's
Yes.
like, yeah, because shared values, I don't know. I mean, like, only that if you have I mean, like, not like a relationship, but more like a partnership, and things shift from one to the other, that kind of
Mm,
thing could happen. Or
yeah.
you decide that, like, you are really in a shared place. I mean, like it could be like 60-40, like something like that, and
Yeah.
you become
Changes
50
in
50 50 50, etc. I mean, like the physical change as well.
changes in the balance of power within the relationship. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Ninth. Yeah, ninth.
Yeah, so the ninth is about faith, long journeys, and higher education. So I think it's not hard to imagine Uranus coming in and changing all those things in our lives, as we talked about it being innovation, independence. Um, Perhaps we start to explore a new idea of faith for us, something that's a little bit more original, a little bit different, a little bit outside the box, something that's a bit outside society. But it could also be a sudden desire to travel, something coming in. I really need to travel. I really need to go and do that course at university, the one I've been thinking about for ages, because it's going to be a like, right, now I'm going to do it. Something coming in to expand the mind. Because Uranus in the ninth, I think, if you've got Gemini on the ninth house cusp, this is going to really be coming in and expanding your horizons in quite sudden and unexpected ways.
Yeah, maybe learning new languages. I think it's like because there
Languages.
is this that is like Mercury, Gemini, all this
Hmm.
communication, air sign, etc. And also it since the ninth house could be related with different cultures and different countries, etc. So it could be, I mean, like you may decide that I'm going to learn a new language, but also astrology is a new language for
Yes,
everyone. No,
definitely.
it's like it could be also like studying and the language all together come together for some of the people. Okay, I will just, I mean, like maybe it's time for me to study astrology as well. Also, I mean, it's about, I think, philosophy and that more that kind of philosophical journey or spirituality that is with the ninth house. So I think that forming these new different structures, maybe the birth of cults, I don't know that kind of thing, but it's a kind of new form of thinking it the spirituality or the faith and everything could come into that as well. I mean, maybe.
I think there's definitely something about journeys. Anyway, new journeys, journeys that you hadn't thought of before. I mean, maybe you'll do a Katy Perry and go off into outer space. That's that's also possible. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Yeah. Katy Perry, yes. Yeah, okay, that's another thing I think to discuss about who went to that journey or and who
Yeah,
didn't go.
that's not for now.
Tenth is my tenth. I have to talk. Okay, 10,000. Okay, that's actually for you also. Tenth is Uranus is going into Gemini in the tenth. Yes,
Oh
it
yes,
is.
that's for me.
I mean,
Mm.
it's like also for me. I mean, like because we are Leo risings. Of course, we have different uh, uh, degrees, but for me, it would be most of the Gemini would be in the 10th house. So it's like I think of course it's career, but it's like also how you mm, form your authority or
Yeah,
form
sure.
your stand, I mean, in the society. I mean, like
Hmm.
how do you, so it's like in a way, it's like how do I want to be
Hmm.
recognized by the people? So with Uranus in Gemini, how can I mean, like feed into that? Yeah, it's in a way
Yeah.
like that. I mean, like it's like what kind of change of perspective would
Hmm.
help me to get that recognition, to get that level of authority,
Yeah,
or to get that.
public recognition, sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like this through this change. What is Uranus is
Hmm.
asking me? What kind of changes does it want from me?
Mm.
Or what kind of mindset, or what kind of I think uh, changes that could be done, or kind of innovation, or things, or outside of the box thinking could be applied to get that stand. What is it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yep. What change? But I mean, you might also find that sudden changes come in, Terry, that that you weren't actually planning, which is
Yeah, of
typical with
course.
Uranus, and that that might be a really good thing happening, especially with the sort of sextiles and the trines that are coming from the other outer planets. So it could be a really positive thing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's not. I mean, in any case, I don't take it like. I think you know, with any kind of transit, I mean, we always have the power in our hands to turn into things more powerful. You
Well,
know
we
that
certainly,
that's
yeah.
that strength. I mean, it's true that some of the things could not look good enough, or that kind of thing. Uranus was in my also, I mean, like in my 10th house still. I mean, like with the Taurus, thanks to
Hmm.
Taurus, it was still going through that. But it's like, It could be the case that some of these sudden changes, etc., can catch us blindsided, no, that it
Sure.
can catch from us. But the important thing is that if we get the message from there also, it's like, okay, that okay,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I got the slap, thank you. But I mean,
Okay, I've listened.
it's
I'm
like
listening.
there should be a reason for that. What is
Hmm.
the reason behind? And I think Uranus in Gemini is very good for that. It's like the like you can that make that thinking process. It's like you can dig in it and then understanding the underlying reason behind that, especially if you're a Virgo sun, it would help you. Like, what is the really detailed, etc. And then it's like you can see, okay, I got the slap, okay, but there is a reason. So you try to find the reason, get the solution, make the change, move forward.
Yeah. Ideally. Yep.
Ideally, yeah, in an ideal world, but we try to make the ideal. Nothing is perfect, but we try our best.
So the 11th house is about hopes and wishes, our hopes and wishes. It's also about community. It's about the larger social groups that we interact with. And I really do feel that with Uranus going through Gemini in this house, if you've got that coming up, then you are probably going to find yourself be interacting on a much greater scale than before with perhaps social groups. Yeah, groups that are to do with how you feel about society. I don't know. I mean, just off the top of my head, Greenpeace or something like that, whatever it is. But these big organizations, perhaps that kind of look to make changes in society. It can also be about, but it can also be about your hopes and wishes. You know, what do you want here? Uranus coming in to change your ideas about that, perhaps, and how you feel about that, but changing how you feel about society too. And Uranus actually tends to like to be independent. So joining groups might not be a thing. It might just be doing your little thing, especially as it's connected to Chiron, doing your own thing kind of a little bit on the edges of those. And the other thing is it's about friends. So changes in friendship groups, making new friends, all those kinds of things I think come into the 11th house as well. Um, but I think it's quite nice for actually being out in the world. So, having gone through your 10th house now and it's changed perhaps your standing or how you feel about your public self in society, you can now move into interacting in that space or in a wider society. Yeah, and make changes to that, communicate differently, be more you, perhaps.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, like I mean, it's like Uranus, that independent, but it's like sometimes maybe we can find ways to be in and out at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's like I mean, it's like, uh, as you said, Gemini, maybe we won't see that emotional connection. We will see that more mental connection. And
hmm,
with Uranus there, I mean, independence and everything. But I mean, you can still uh, make a change, not being completely integrated somewhere, but as you said,
sure.
you can be just like be there. I mean, but you don't need to be part of it, part
No,
of
no,
the
that's
that
what I was trying to
community. Yeah,
say. Yeah. So doing
yeah,
your own thing on the outside. But I think it is very much about connecting with like-minded people,
yeah.
whoever you want to connect with
Yeah.
in wider groups. Even if you don't, yeah, you don't, so you're not a paid up member of whatever party it is. You just can,
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, 12 houses. Why did I get all these farming houses this time? I mean, 12 house. I mean, it's like 12 house is what you say. I mean, it's like it's sometimes thinking beyond ourselves. No, it's like you are talking about like that is getting that connection with the universe. And when I'm thinking, like you were saying about the Uranus, the spirit, and also Gemini is air
mhm,
signs.
mm,
Actually, I mean, it's like we say communication, etc., but they are the medium. I mean, they intermediaries, right? I mean,
Mhm.
like that, the carrying that messages, etc.,
Yeah.
like that, and it can be a time that maybe that's of course 12,000. When we think about it, it's like there's this isolation and like going into retreats and that kind of thing,
Hmm.
but there could be other ways to connect with the universe and with all the collective. In that sense, I think that the Uranus in Gemini could give us the chance. And I think again, this astrology comes into hand here, because I mean, astrology is a different way to connect with people, with the society, and with
Hmm.
the universe. No, we have a different connection. I mean, that is like sometimes it feels right isolated. I mean, it feels like you are alone as long as you are not talking to other astrologers, because sometimes the people look at you, no, it's like, what are you doing, what is your deal, I mean, etc. I mean, and in that sense I think it's a different way to connect, I think, with the universe. And also it's a maybe a different way of connecting with your ancestors, because
Hmm.
12,000 is
That's
your
possible. Yeah.
ancestors,
Hmm.
is your past, and getting that connection. And if you can get that connection with the past, with the Uranus
Mm.
in Gemini, you can move forward in a different
Yeah.
way, because it's
Yeah.
like it's in a way you get from the past, you get from the ancestors and everything. You are carrying that to the future in a way.
Yes. Yeah.
Even it makes you feel lonely for a while. It could be worthwhile to explore that past, so that you can uh, move forward with a different
Mm.
mindset, and then you come back to the first house at the end of the day in a different way. I mean,
It
it's
is
like,
definitely yeah, I think connecting with the ancestors, and I think it could be very creative actually as well, Uranus in that house. I think it could be because you're kind of tapping into, the universe, as it were, the wider subconscious, the white, whatever's out there, with the Uranus antennae, you're tapping into it. I think it could be a really creative experience as well. And yes, definitely really spiritual. So I think both of those things, and yeah, maybe the ancestors, maybe just a spirituality in general. But I think there is definitely the sense of just understanding or tapping into at some level what's happening on just a cosmic scale. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that could be interesting. I mean, for the people, Uranus that is passing through their 12th house, how
Mm.
that feeling, I don't know. I mean, like, it's also there is this experience, as you always say. I mean, that Gemini is already in that house, but
Hmm.
adding Uranus there could make a
Expand it.
real in a different way. I mean, it
Yeah.
can make a change that expect the unexpected, as they say. I mean, so you can expect the unexpected with the Uranus always. I
Definitely
mean,
with all the Uranus transits.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, we have to wait and see, we say.
Wait to see. And we should probably wrap up. I think we've been chatting for over an hour, so
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
had enough now.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, so today it was the again Sky Whispers, and we went through Uranus in Gemini, and we touched the Chiron. We wanted to stay there, but we couldn't. So, if we had time, we could have done it maybe another time. And we will appreciate a lot if you could leave any comments or
Comments.
anything that you would like maybe to be discussed, etc. If we can do, and the it's everything is like work in progress for us at the moment,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think. And
definitely. Work
yeah,
in
it's
progress.
like, yeah, we will come back with the also July monthly report about the astrological events that will be happening in the month of July. But maybe in the future, if we can have time and make time, and the people would be kind enough to accept our invitations, we could have these monthly interviews with some of the um, really,
Yeah, we're going to look at that, aren't we? So
yeah,
monthly
it's like
interviews with some prominent
some
astrologers. Yeah.
astrologers. Yeah, we can see the word didn't come to my mind. I was like, there's a word, there's a word, etc. Anyway, so
Okay.
we will do that, and that was it for us for today. Uranus in Gemini. If you have any questions, please contact us. We have all our, both Allison's and my details, and our shared details are in the profile. You can just go and click the links and then
Yeah.
contact us. We will be happy to answer
To
you,
talk to
and
you.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly, talk to you. Okay, so thank you.
Okay. Thanks for listening. Okay.
Ashke,
Thanks, Terry.
bye,
Bye.
bye, bye.
Bye.